Hey, howdy ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 520. The Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers post-game, NFC Championship post-game show. I think it's a therapy session, Jeff.
It's, yeah. Didn't feel like that for a while. It was going to be that way for a while, but
No.
here we are.
It felt really good there, but we'll talk about it. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
a lot happened today, and we had a great team, young team, played beyond their means, really, and was something really special.
And as we talked about towards the end of the game, by the way, we're live in Mobile. We are here for the Senior Bowl, and you're going to hear a lot about that coming up in the coming days. But tonight's about the Lions and what happened today. And we watched the game. We were in Chris's hotel room. Now, we watched it at my hotel room, which is a floor down. And towards the end of the game, I remember saying, when in like 12 to 24 hours, we're going to look back on this, and that's the time when we'll feel like, damn, man, what a magical season. How great this was. But it hurts right now.
Yes.
It really does.
Yes.
And it should, because this game was there for the taking, and the 49ers took it. And
Yes.
That's the long and the short of it.
Yep. All right, well, we're going to go into this. We'll talk about the game. We'll do a roundtable. We will look for the Lions post-game presser. By all accounts right now, it doesn't look like they're going to have one, which seems really strange, but then again, maybe apropos. So we'll monitor and see what's going on and see what we can find with that. And, of course, we will take your calls. It doesn't matter that we're in Mobile, Alabama. Right. We're going to talk to you. We'll get you through the therapy because I think we need a little bit of it too here. All right?
Yeah, they are not live. So.
Yeah, they are not live, and we're watching over here for any inclination that they will be. We'll see. All right, with that, we got a great show coming up.
We do.
Even though it's a sad topic. Riz, are you ready to go, my man?
Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right. Breaking it down, talking about it, doing our thing. Man, this was a tough one. This is a tough one. We had a 17-point lead at the half.
We did. First half, my God.
We gave it all away.
Magical.
We gave it all away, man.
First half was so much fun.
It was.
It was as great of a time as I can remember being a Lions fan. And then it really wasn't. That really hurts.
It makes it worse.
It does.
Makes it worse.
Does.
The false hope and the dash dreams. But with that, we just need to take a moment. We talked a little bit about last year's team at the end of the season and how, we wanted folks to remember that team and that group of guys because they're the group that turned the wheel, that turned the ship from where it had been so many times, so many years prior. And here we are now with a team that's that got there, top 4 team in the league and what looked like maybe a top 2 team for a half. All steps in the right direction. I think we can reflect back and say, hey, at the beginning of the season, we all just said if we win a playoff game, that's it. We've all moved the goalpost since then. We wanted a Super Bowl. We wanted it. This is a team that we know is, and Dan Campbell said it, isn't as talented as so many other teams, but they're using their culture to win, and it gets hard when you get to this level. You need it all. You need culture and you need the talent.
Yeah, you need players, and they need to make plays. And there were plays there to be made, and they didn't. And just looking at the early comments, and by the way, it's nice to actually be able to read the comments for once. People are hitting on it already. The dropped passes, the dropped interception, the crazy, like how the hell does Brandon Ayuk wind up with that catch? That's the sort of fluky luck thing that, the great teams get that, and the Lions just didn't get it. There were missed tackles, so many missed opportunities. Iffy missing that sack. We both screamed about that.
Oh, it hurt.
Watching it in real time, like, you've got to get him down! And they didn't. There's blown coverages, Cam Sutton being Cam Sutton. It was very frustrating because the lack of execution. And, a lot of people, I think, at least I'm looking at social media here, and we're not seeing it on the comments yet, and thank you for that. Please keep them coming in, too, and call in if you want. But the I didn't think going into the halftime that this was going to be a team that gave it up. I really thought that because of the way that they have done it this year, like we're not that. I'm not even going to use the word. It felt like the new Lions were not going to be able to blow that, and they didn't. And one of the things that I do want to say is the 49ers do deserve some credit. They showed why they were the best team in football in the regular season. Aside from the Ravens, they didn't handle business today either. But they didn't give up on themselves, and that's a testament to all the good players that they have. They remember that Christian McCaffrey plays for their football team. That was important.
Yeah.
The Lions stopped stopping him. That was also important.
Yep.
Brock Purdy turned into the running quarterback that we haven't been able to defend all year. Like they made the adjustments that we couldn't do on both sides of the ball in the second half, and that's you got to have better players, and the better players also have to make plays.
Yeah.
And the Lions just didn't in the second half, and it's going to get diagnosed a lot. We're going to diagnose it in the next couple of hours while we're here. Mm-hmm. We're going to diagnose it. I got writing things I have to do. If you see me looking over here, I am still on the clock. So
we got a lot going on.
Yeah,
we got a lot going on.
But we're getting through it.
It's a good kind of clock to be on. Ryan had a great point. We had a great season. We have an effing coach. We're back in the holes. And we'll be back. The holes we have are many and can't be filled. Isn't that weird to say? All great. This is a thing, and it's perfect timing. Senior Bowl is like a pain in the rear with all the stuff with the Lions doing so well. But you know what? This is actually a decent transition because so few people have really been looking at and talking about the draft.
Yep.
We need some corners. Yeah. We're probably going to need some O-line help this year. D-line help. We're going to see all that stuff this week, and we're going to talk about that.
You know what's cool? We're the only Lions people here.
Yeah, it is. We got you all week. We got players Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, Wednesday afternoon interviewed from Senior Bowl. So we'll have players all over the place. Watch the YouTube. Listen to the audio if that's the way you do it. You'll hear us talk to a whole bunch of players. We've got some of the Michigan guys. Mike Sanderstill is on the top of the list. So we're shooting to talk to him.
We will have. We are scheduled to have Kingsley Suamataya, Panay's cousin. We are scheduled to have Christian McCaffrey's little brother, who's a wide receiver from Rice. That is going to. You're going to like him if you look into the late rounds. There's going to be a lot of fun things to talk about, and we will definitely be getting on that. And I was dreading, in a way. Like, how am I going to cover the Senior Bowl and cover the Lions going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And that's like the only saving grace for this loss right now because it's made the next 10 days or so for me a lot clearer, not better, but clearer in a way out all of that. And like I said, tonight is a night to let it out. It sucks, and there's going to be a few ripple effects from it that I'm sure we can talk about that too. But just we will be proud of this team.
I'm proud of this team now.
Order.
I'm sorry.
I am too.
I'll be honest with you. This 3-year turnaround to be a top 4 team in the league and potentially could have been a top 2 team in the league with a chance at the number 1
and Chris,
shot.
Do either of us think that this team's going anywhere? That this was a fluke?
No,
not a chance.
No.
So this was the stepping stone, and now they've got that playoff experience. Remember the bad boys? They had to get through Chicago.
Yep.
They had to get that beat, and then Chicago had to beat the Bulls.
Yeah.
Hockey, the Red Wings, they
took a decade of good teams to finally crack the nut. In 97.
Like they had to get past Montreal. They had to get past the Devils. They had to get past New Jersey or New York, the Rangers.
Colorado,
and then it was their time, and then they took over. That's how the good teams build up. Yep. And this was the first step in that, and it sucks that they stubbed their toe in the biggest moment that they were in, but they're going to learn from it, and they'll get better at it. And Dan will coach better from it, too. Dan made some mistakes tonight. There's no doubt about that. We disagreed on the 4th down call. You would have taken the points. I wanted to go for it. In a way, we were both vindicated because they would have made it if Josh Rouse caught the ball, but also the points would have made a big difference there.
Yeah.
So,
this is a good one. Tommy Williamson. There aren't many worse ways to lose a game like that. Unfortunately for me, it's the NFC title game or bust for next year. So then what are you going to do if they don't get to the title game? If they don't win the game, what are you going to do?
That's one of the things that we are going to have to adjust to is we will have expectations for this team.
That's right.
And we will have the bullseye on the back instead of shooting at it from the front. And that's going to be harder.
Yeah.
But this team, the way they're built, this was just the start. This wasn't one of those teams that's going to make the championship game and then go away like the Buccaneers did. Back when the Rams won the Super Bowl in 7, do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh,
With
yeah.
the Selman brothers and Ricky Bell and that team. Like, they got to the NFC Championship game after they had been awful. Like, they had the longest – they didn't win for like 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And they got there and they lost to the Rams. I remember watching that game. It was like 9-3 or something like that. And then they went away. Like, they didn't – I don't think they made the playoffs again for a few years.
Yep.
This doesn't feel like that at all to me. I feel like this was this step, the base foundation for a extended run by this core team that's so young and so good and is still learning how to play in big games. And I think they got that. And that's you got to take some solace in that.
Well, look at what's happened. You know, the 49ers journey to this point. They lost three times in the championship game. They haven't been able to pull it together. They haven't been able. It took a long time. You can go to college. You can look at Michigan to get to their national championship this year. They had an embarrassing loss to TCU last year, and then got beat by Georgia the year before. It doesn't happen ever that you go from 15th, 17th in the league to number 1. We made it to number 4, number 3, depending. I mean, I guess you could say the Ravens beat us, and since we didn't play them again, we're number 4.
Yeah.
4th in the league at this point, and we lost to the team that had the number 1 offense, the number 1 defense, and they were number 1 overall ranking. There's nothing to be ashamed of for the Detroit Lions. They achieved better than the talent on the field.
Yes,
they and I've said this a couple times. I'll say it again. Riz has heard me say it 100 times today.
Yes, I have.
Said it on the BBC.
Yes, you did.
The World Service today. Peter Drucker, culture eats strategy for breakfast, and you saw it, but you need them both. You need them both when you get to the top level. Another year of Brad Holmes. I mean, think about it. Why are we here? Those rookies, Gibbs,
Branch.
Laporta, Branch. Like, all those guys are what carried us this year to be what we did, to make that turnaround, to take it to the next level. We have all those guys next year. J-Mo coming back, and now with the trust and the ability that he's shown to grow and fit into that role. And then what we pick up in talent. And we've shown we can make this talent and help this talent produce right off the top in year 1. Everything we grow, everything we pull out of this draft is only going to make this a better team next year.
We do have some money in free agency to play with to get better. I think we all still trust in Brad Holmes that he's going to make good decisions in that, or at least the right decision. It doesn't necessarily mean that it will work out well, but you know, there's the draft is coming. We will pick 29th, by the way. That's one of the things that I actually have to write tonight is our updated draft order. We will pick 29th in the first round. We will be talking a lot about prospects. I just want to talk about this game tonight because it's fresh on the mind. The Lions, by the way, still are not doing anything.
I don't think they are. I think I just don't think they're going to be doing anything today.
I think
after
this is a situation where Dan and the players need to be together without bozos like me in there, and
in particular.
Yeah. No, notice I'm here. That's what you hate it when it ends like that. You know, it's just frustrating because it was there and it was so there.
Yeah.
And I think we all saw the potential in that first half, and my God, how well everybody executed. Panay just kicking ass out in the field. J-Mo making things happen. That first touchdown, my God, I was worried that we were going to get thrown out of the hotel.
Yeah, we were. It
was loud.
Loud. All right, let's see. Since we're not going to be going into a post game show for a presser, let's go ahead and open up the phones for folks. Yep. Right? No, I don't. I can fix that. 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. That'll get you access to us, and we'll take your calls, and we'll get you on the show, and we'll talk you through our therapy session because we all need to have.
We all need a little shelter.
Okay, give me a second. I'll put the number up on the board here. And, there's a lot to talk about. The first half, people were starting to break out the champagne, feeling pretty good about things. And maybe it was a little bit too early for that. All right, let's get our first call in here. Hey, caller, what's your name? And from 0 to Frank, where you at? Hold on 1 second, man. Let me get you on here.
We can't hear you. That's on our end too. It's not you.
Yeah, it's totally us. Let me. It's connected. That's why we heard it in our ear.
Yeah.
I know why. Oh, hey, caller, you there now? Oh man,
Chris can.
Yeah.
So you are on the phone, and we have a nice box over here, but you're not going through that, and that's our end.
Yep.
That's Chris.
Yeah, it's all Chris. It's always Chris. Chris. All right.
Crisscross.
We'll get you figured out here in a second, caller. Sorry about this.
We are working it out. Well, Chris is. He doesn't let me touch things.
I try not to.
Yeah. I'll be like Dave Phipp, just hitting the button.
Hit the button.
Yeah.
Can
I hit a button?
You're touching one right now. It's all.
We've had a frustrating technology day.
It has been.
I got a rental car, and it doesn't like my Android Auto app on my car. And I very nearly threw a conniption in the middle of Government Street today. And Chris really appreciated the fact that I got flustered. It's foreshadowing for what's coming.
Foreshadowing. For sure.
Oh, it's frustrating. It's so close.
Hey, caller, how you doing? I hear you, but
So close.
the problem is all the calls are coming in. I can't get to the settings to make it go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
All right. Oh, wow.
There we go.
Oh, my dad just texted me a nice condolence. He's a Browns fan, too.
Oh, that's
Good
awesome.
for him.
That's nice of him. Let's see. Trying to get this thing to. What, Damn. It made noise in our ears. What does it make noise anywhere else? I'm actually.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Hey, caller. Here we go. I got it. Hey, caller, what's your name? And where are you at on 0 to Frank?
My name's Kevin. I'm calling from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good given the circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, man. These only one team at the end of the year gets to be happy, right?
Hey, you know what? I'm living in SEC country.
Yeah.
And I've been a Michigan man my whole life. I'm 47 years old, and so this was set up to be one of the most perfect years of my life for football. And it didn't work out. But my question is, I just wonder, as I was watching, and I'm not a football expert, but wondering, the sweet plays with the pulling guards, the pulling, Ragnow going out to the right side of the field just seemed to be just killing it for us in the first half. I just wonder why they didn't keep up with that in the second half, because it seemed like that was just a money ball kind of play for us, and I wonder why. Always, I wonder why after halftime, after corrections and looking at how the defense works, why we didn't just keep going with that.
Can I give you my theory, Chris?
What do you guys think?
Go for it, Riz.
My theory is that Ben Johnson is too smart for himself in situations like that, and he thinks that they think that he's going to keep doing it because it's working, and then he doesn't do it because he doesn't want to keep going to it because he wants to show that he's smarter than the defensive coordinator and the adjustments that they make. And I've had this complaint several times about Ben Johnson. I think he's a brilliant schemer. I'm not sure that he's the best play sequencer or play strategist throughout a game. And it tends to happen in the third quarter. That's one of the reasons why the team falls apart in the third quarter. I've just written a big piece about the third quarter curse, and that's part of it. And that's something that I hope he learns from, whether he's back or whether he's somewhere else. And we're not going to talk about that tonight. We will have time to talk about that in the coming days because we will know a lot more in the coming days.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
that's certainly one of the issues that I have, and one of the reasons why they get it is because he forgets that his players are good sometimes, and that has been a source of constant frustration for me. And it definitely showed tonight. Like you said, everything was working in the first half. The smart things, relying on your best players to do what they do well. That's good coaching. And for whatever reason, and maybe Dan probably deserves some culpability on this too, because he's not enforcing it. And he does have the ability to enforce it if he wants to. We know that. And he doesn't, but it's just it's aggravating because they can be better than that, and they're not. And that's my guess at an answer.
And it feels like a Michigan problem because I feel like the Wolverines were kind of in that same position most of the year, that what worked for us in the first half should have worked for us in the second half, and it didn't.
Yep.
But no, I get you, and I feel like the runs and and what we were able to do in that first half was what gave Goff the ability to make those one-off kind of ad hoc miracle throws.
Yeah.
That saved us. That got us first downs. And once we started
those third down conversions to St. Brown were great.
Yeah.
And they weren't there at all in the second half.
Exactly.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, caller. We're
So
going
you
to
guys
move
are
on.
great. Thank you appreciate it.
All right,
Appreciate
thank you,
the
man.
time. Go Lions, man.
Yeah. Go Lions, brother.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you on a scale of 0 to Frank?
Hey, what's up, Chris? This is Nick. 0 to Frank. I don't know, 50% or something.
That's good. That's good. I was
should-
drinking torpedoes earlier. I'm on just regular Sierra Nevadas now because I want to be somewhat.
It should be way more because I've probably drank about 20 beers, but I started at I had the place I went to watch. I had to get in there before the first game started, so I could get a seat at the bar. So I had to slow play it.
Yeah.
But
We had the same issue, and we wound up just bagging that.
yeah, so grand total of beers drank, it's a lot.
Yeah.
As Frank said in his. But it took a long time, so I'm all right.
All right. What do you got for us, man?
Anyway.
Besides saying, well, if you're thinking about, hey, how was the second half?
That's bullshit.
It's about what you got.
No. Yeah, it's just like I guess I want to preface what I'm going to say by obviously acknowledging man, what a season. Obviously, and I don't think any of us had us making the NFC Championship game, so it's been an amazing season. And I recognize that, appreciate that and all that stuff. But and this is probably unpopular opinion, but why is in the chat in the Slack, why is nobody really on Dan Campbell for the decision making tonight? We passed up 2 field goal opportunities.
Yeah.
And that could have made a difference, man. And I know Badgley's not a long range kicker, but they were high 40s, low 50s,
Yeah, the first one was 48.
I don't know. If the first one was 48, second one was 52, and
I believe so.
if we go for that and we make it, we're talking about a totally different situation here, man.
Yeah.
And,
I think
I don't know. I mean, I know everything that he's his energy and his hey man, we go for it all the time. It's probably part of what's driven the team to be, so aggressive and buying into his whole sort of culture and stuff like that. But man, I feel like it really bit us in the ass tonight, and it's
I think it was 48 and 45 in the chat. They're talking about.
Yeah.
Badgley kicked to 54 last week, but he's missed a ton of kicks prior to that. There's not a lot of faith in Badgley, number one. Number two, we got here by going for it on 4th down, and you stick with what you know. I mean, that's why they did it. They had success, and it's like the fake punts, right? No one complained the last time we did the fake punt at our own, 27-yard line, something like that. The one before, everyone was like, that was the dumbest move in the world because we didn't make it, right? When you take those chances, sometimes you don't get it. Sometimes you do. When you get it, no one criticizes the chance. You take the points and go with it, and that's kind of where you're at. This is what got us here, going for it on fourth down, being aggressive, and frankly, it's part of what's led to the culture of the team and the way that they play, not just kicking field goals, but how the defense plays, how the offense plays. They don't trust their kicker. They don't feel good about their kicker. It's obvious.
That's certainly part of it.
Yeah.
I think also it does feed that. It's like if you're a defensive player and Dan's going for it, he's like, he trusts us to get his back. Like if they don't make this, like he's believing in us. Like that does mean something to the defense.
Yep.
Now that turned out to be wrong.
Yep.
But
it's not always right. That's the thing.
Yeah, you got to make those decisions. And again, I wanted it to go for it on the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, given the situation, because you had to get a touchdown, I wasn't sure you were going to get close enough again to get one. It turns out that they did. But I'm one of those people, like, I hate it when you're down by 2 scores and it's like 4th and 6 from the – thank you, I need to swallow it better. That's what she said. That's what I told her.
That's what he said.
But when it's like, and you're at like the 15-yard line or something, I hate when they kick the field goal. Get the touchdown first, and that way you know if your game's over or not. Because if you kick the field goal, it doesn't help you as much. And so I'm okay with going for the second one. That was a little bit of a longer kick. I'm looking at it now. The first one was 45, and the second one was 47, 48, depending on where you believe the spot was. That's not a gimme for Badgley, but I think I would be confident in saying that he makes both of those. I'm not sure that Dan Campbell and Dave Phipps share that confidence, but again, that's dance with the girl that brought you there. And
that's the thing with Cam. People are all over Cam. Well, they're over Cam now, but they're over Vildor really hard today, right? Vildor's the guy that came after Jerry, that everyone was all about Jerry, right? And I'm like, that's what you got. You're not going to get better at game 14 of the season. You're just not getting better at that position. And it's like what you have to make it work. As much as you're like, go get it, you can't. There's no options at that point.
No, there's
This
not.
is what you had. So now you have Vildor instead of Jerry, and that's what happened. And Cam is Cam, right? That's just the way things work out.
It
so
didn't go that way. Yeah,
we will get more talent. That's what this team is. We have 3 years of talent. We're relying on our rookies for our last 2 years, basically, to carry this team and Jared Goff. I think we'll see some great leaps forward again, and we'll move forward. I think we're fine. I think we will be fine because we got this far. I mean, I see Thomas in the chat. Cam Sutton is a liability. If he's a liability, then we're just a cornerback away from the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, he is the best we've got.
Yeah.
Outside corners.
Yeah.
I think like for me, like Jeff said, he wouldn't have gone for the first one. For me, like I thought we should have like gone for the first one because that would have kept it a 3-score game.
Yep.
And at the same time, also like kind of interrupted the momentum. I think like the fact that we didn't go for it, that we went for the fourth down and didn't convert it. That just kind of allowed them to like gain more momentum. So I feel like that was just such a, I don't know, if I was the coach, they'd get the 3. Obviously you could miss it, that's always a chance, but like you just go for it. You take the 3, you stay up 17 points. You're kind of right on par. They hit a field goal coming out of the first half to start the second half, and then we hit one back, and it's like it's all on.
Yeah, would have
on
been
the same level.
Yeah, we would have held serve basically, and it still would have been 17 points.
Yeah,
and
held
that much more
serve,
time
and like
to come off.
who knows what happens from there? Like the momentum and everything kind of like stabilizes, but I don't know. It just seems like that's a bad choice.
Yeah, I did want to go for it, but I can't say that you're wrong in your points. Like you're right. So yeah, I think that's just more of like a philosophical difference. And Dan clearly is going to go for it. That's his aggressive nature, and that's it's sort of like going back to Calvin Johnson. Like Calvin Johnson was a magnificent wide receiver, one of the greatest ever. He dropped a lot of balls. Like that's the cost of doing business. That's part of what you have, and that's what we have with Dan Campbell. if you don't like it, you're going to have to kind of deal with that because that's who he is. That's why he is who he is, and that's why the players love him so much because he wants them to decide the game, and he puts it in their hands. And tonight they literally dropped those balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So, like, since you guys are down there at Mobile, and we're, season's over, now we're getting into draft season. And since we're talking about kicker, and lack of confidence around our kicker, do we think that maybe kicker is something that we would look at in the draft? I mean, obviously they usually don't go into the later rounds, but like,
well,
and do we have any, are there any kickers in the draft that are like looking?
So the dude from
like
Alabama is good.
That would actually be draftable.
The fat kicker from Missouri, who's not here, he's at the Shrine game. He's really good, although he missed 2 from over 50 yesterday. I actually have access to watch all their practices, and I haven't been able to do it today. That's a 7th round pick that you make. There's actually, and I'm part of the people that commissioned it. We're doing a study on the impact of being drafted versus undrafted on kickers. And the early results on it are that you're better off not drafting one and taking a guy who's angry that he didn't get drafted. So, but they're, like Jake Moody missed the field goal tonight. He was the number 100 pick in the draft.
Bust, toss him aside. He's no good. This whole team is lucky to be this far. It's
just real quick on that. I know that Dave Phipp loved him. Brad didn't. And some of the scouting department didn't. They didn't think he was mentally tough. So, I don't know. Finding a kicker that everybody agrees on, that's definitely an area where they have to get better. They had 3 kickers this year. They had 2 other ones that were in camp. They got to do something better with that because it hurt them this year. Not just in this game, but I think there were times where I think Dan would have kicked the field goal had he trusted the kicker. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. And that's a position that they will upgrade, I'm certain, in the offseason.
Yeah. Badgley has done enough to merit trying to be part of the solution, but they're not going to hesitate to move on from it if they find somebody better.
It's a tool that Dan doesn't trust.
Yeah.
And if you don't trust that tool, you don't pull it out and use it, and you find a different way to get the job done. That's basically where we're at. Hey, caller, we got to let you go. We're going to get some more, okay?
Tool here.
Hey, no worries. Thank you, guys, and have a great week down there.
You too.
Thank you,
brother.
Go Lions.
All right. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you at? From 0 to Frank.
Oh man, if Frank has if Frank's like a junior and his dad's like a senior, like I'm Frank Senior.
Oh man.
But hey, I just want to say, hey, go Lions, man. I'm here in Dallas, and man, dude, just like I don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. Like, oh, sorry about that, but like, hey, man, like, come on, dude. Like, it's not like Mark Rippon in '91, right? Like, here we are, and we went to San Francisco, and I'm just so fucking happy, man. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah,
good.
Win, lose, or draw, I don't care.
And I think you're a little ahead of all of us on that, but we're all going to get there. And I appreciate that you're bringing that into it because we do need to feel good about this team. It was a great year. It just ended a little earlier than we wanted it to.
Yeah. 100%.
100%.
Okay, so Dan is doing a press conference. We're trying to get a link to it right now, trying to find it. As soon as we can, we will bring it for you, but it's buried somewhere for some reason. Everything is different this week, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Send us a link in the chat on YouTube if you got it there.
Hey, but I love you guys. You guys rule, and go Lions.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for calling. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where you at from 0 to Frank?
Hey, I'm calling in about the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, I think we should have just kept running with the 6 linemen. We was dominating on that, and we should have never went for it. We should have kept the field position or went for the field goal. We had them on the ropes, and we let them off the hook. As Dennis Green say.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm seeing that now in my head, and I hadn't thought of that. But that's a great, that's a very great visual. Thank you for that. Because you're right on. You're right on about that.
Yeah. Well, and then another thing, I got one more thing to say about the Lions next year. Since we can start off talking about the Lions next year, I know I'm gonna get killed for it, but I just want to know, could we get a first rounder for Jared Goff and start the Henry Hooker era next year? And hey, I'm just saying, what we gonna do with this money? We got to either pay him or the line. I think we need to put the money towards the line than the quarterback.
All right, man.
We got some decisions to make.
I will tell you this: you are not alone in thinking that.
And we got Brown. We got to pay. We can't let St. Brown not get paid. We got Sewell. We got Jackson. You know, if we gonna start the new leaf in the new era, we need the salary cap. And either we pay Goff the big money for at least 1 year, and kind of be off the hook with a good signing bonus for him, and then start to hit the hooker the year after. But we definitely gonna need the money to pay our line. For sure, because we in a tough conference now.
I don't disagree with that, but I don't think the team has any intent of letting Jared Goff walk away. But there's a lot of people that agree with you. And I, as someone, I did like Hendon Hooker a lot. As Chris will verify, I would have taken him at 18. I was that high
where
on
I was
him.
too.
Doesn't mean that I want to see him now, though, because I think Goff, the way he played down the stretch this year, proved that he can be the reason why you win games. And I hadn't seen that from him in years. And the fact that I've seen that now, I'm good with giving him money, but not crazy money, because you're right. We got to pay Saint. We got to pay Sewell. We got to pay Hutch at some point. We got to pay Aleem. Payday's coming up. We got to go get a number one corner. And I don't think you're drafting one at 29 in this draft. Maybe you get lucky.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's budget things
that's
that have to get
I
out there. That's something that they do have to definitely consider, like the long-term balance of it, because you can't pay Goff $50 million a year, and then because you did that, you can't get a cornerback help, or you can't upgrade. Alex Anzalone's going to be coming up fairly soon. Like, you're going to have to replace him at some point. Yeah. From what we've seen from Jack Campbell as a rookie, especially tonight, I don't know about that one. But there's things that, you do have to make those trade-offs. I personally don't think that they have any interest in Goff not being the guy, but it's worth the discussion point. Absolutely. I don't hate talking about that at all.
We just don't want to end up like Carolina and see. We already know that we need the perfect line for Goff for him to play these type of games. We already seen how he look when he under pressure, and if he ain't got a line to protect him, we not gonna make it out the first round. You get us to the first round, but if the line is not what we want, we gonna be looking like Carolina back there with Young, with him just running with his head cut off, getting sacked, and we can't afford that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, caller. We just watched Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, lead a talented core team. No one of us are going to argue that the 49ers are a very good team. They have a lot of talent in a lot of spots, not necessarily on the offensive line other than left tackle. But do you think that the Lions would be able to keep enough talent like that to win with Hooker instead of Goff? Because I think that's sort of where you have to go with it is can Hooker lead this particular team to where you think that Goff can't, is the discussion that you got to have. And I'll ask you, do you think that can happen?
I believe just like Green Bay did with Love, and it didn't take nothing but 2 years basically to get him acclimated with the game plan. And I'm thinking like, shoot, if you got a line and you can protect him, he'll be all right. And even if the line is a little weaker, he got a little bit more escape capability, but he also has a great deep ball to reach J-Mo too, as you seen that J-Mo had a breakout game today. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I'm trying to get value, and if I can get not that I'm saying I won't go off the lead, but this is a hard decision that you got to make. And I'd rather, like I say, I'd rather have an offensive line and everybody be like on the same level skill as far as in our conference, as far as the quarterbacks in our conference. We got Love, and we might be having Jacobs. And I'm thinking with that first round pick, we can get a first round pick for Jared Goff. We can get us a nice defender or something, to trade back. Because I'm quite sure, he could go for something. We just a hard deal that we got to make, a decision we got to make. And a number one draft pick sounds good to me, and that could save us some cap so we can work on both sides. We don't really need too much on offense. I'm just concerned about the line, but we definitely need some defensive help.
Yep.
Definitely.
All right.
I feel you.
All right, brother. We're gonna move on to our next call. Thank you for calling. Appreciate you, man. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to bring it up. It's a good thought. It's a good thought experiment at minimum, and a good
just
conversation.
looking at the chat, it's
beyond
about
that.
50-50 on people on it too. So maybe 60-40 in favor of Goff, but it's going to be a discussion that's going to have to happen. I think it's moot because I think the Lions are keeping Goff regardless.
All right, man. Thank you for calling in. We'll see you.
Yeah, right. Take it easy.
All right, peace out, bro.
Right back.
All right. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you at from 0 to Frank? Caller?
What?
There you are.
There we go.
Yep.
Where are you at from 0 to
Hello.
Frank? What's your name? What do you got going on?
Hey, I'm Tim. I'm in Clark Lake.
How you doing, brother?
Hey, all right. Hey, everyone's been bitching tonight about the offense, and Jared Goff, and all that. And you know what? I think it's the defense. The defense we all knew was rough. I think the defense overplayed they played beyond their skills for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, just to see them, they fell short tonight and they got exposed.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
You were playing on, house money is the phrase everyone uses. But, I mean, this is a team that overachieved for the talent on the team. And it was, again, the culture that got them there. And it's the trust and the brotherhood that they had that got them to that point where they could do that. And it was a magical season. It was a magical season for fans. Look, this game hurts, especially because you were up and the way it went down in the last half. But you won your first playoff game in 32 years. You won your second playoff game for the first time ever. I mean,
yeah, no, it was amazing. I've been a Lions fan for 36 years and waiting for this all my life.
And I see people out there, there's goals to win the Super Bowl. You don't win the Super Bowl, it's no good. Then why are you even watching football? I mean, I guess you could.
Why are you watching Detroit?
Yeah, just watch the last game of the season, and you can like whoever wins, and you'll be right forever. It's just, it's interesting to me.
Hell yeah.
Of course, the goal is to win the Super Bowl, right? But only one team out of 32 does it, and there's a lot of teams. Like, would you rather be where we are or Carolina is right now? And, we used to
be where we are. Yeah, 100%.
We used to be where Carolina is for a long time.
We've seen that movie a couple times.
Yeah,
3 years ago. 3 years ago.
No, it was a beautiful season, and the offense is solid. I just think we all know the defense needs work. I just hate hearing everybody complain about the offense. Like, no,
Yeah,
the defense they're gonna improve it in free agency in the draft, and it's gonna be that much better of a team next year.
Yeah.
So.
100%, man.
I agree.
That's it. It's tough, right? It's tough, but it's one game,
tough,
and it happens. It happens. Teams win, teams lose. It happens all the time, but we are where we are. At least Carolina isn't fake. You're right. They're not. They're really bad. They are real bad.
No, we got an amazing team for years to come. So that's awesome. Happy to be a Lions fan, and I love what you guys do.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
So, hey, you guys have a good night. Go Lions, and I can't wait to see what happens in the draft because this year we won't be surprised at the surprises anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
for real.
It's always surprises. All right, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
We'll talk to you, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you at from 0 to Frank?
0 to Frank?
Yeah, 0 to Frank. Where are you at?
Oh, 0 to Frank. I'm at about a Charlene.
Okay.
I like it.
I love it. What do you got for us today, man?
Oh, man. I feel like I have so much that I could say about this. I feel like the first thing that I would want to say about this game is that I don't feel as personally, emotionally hit by this game as I have by other games this season. So like Baltimore, I was devastated.
Yeah. That was rough.
Green Bay, Thanksgiving, devastating.
Right.
The Bears game that we lost was pretty bad too. Like, and I don't remember where it came from, but someone was saying that we were punching above our weight class.
Yep.
And I know that they're saying we're ahead of the timeline right now. And it's just something for me to keep in perspective, like as a fan. And I can just recall years ago, like being in my college library, just kind of obsessed, like Schwartz up through Caldwell, and constantly refreshing Lions media, like what's going on, what was the transaction, what did we do to improve the team, just to lead to heartbreak. And for us to be here where we're at it's something else. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like we had the game today. It was just a couple mislapses. I don't know enough about football to be able to diagnose what exactly went wrong. Like, I expected coming out of the half that San Francisco was going to punch us in the mouth. I was expecting them to score some points. But just those little breaks, like we don't see drop passes from Josh Reynolds like that, and then the fumble from Gibbs. Like, it was just like one thing after another. And I was like, you are kidding. And this is the other thing. Sorry, this is a slight anecdote here from me.
All right.
I was watching the game at my brother's house, and usually I watch the games over there. And all of a sudden, halftime breaks out, and I find out that he and his wife go upstairs. My mom and my dad are there too. And all of a sudden, like, my mom is like, hey, I'm going to go home. Dad, you going to ride home with me, Joe? And she comes back downstairs and was like, yeah, they're literally puking upstairs. Like, they're throwing up. They caught a bug. They're food poisoning. We don't know what's going on, but like, so they leave. My brother and his wife, they're out of the picture. And all of a sudden I'm in the basement on my own watching the game. And I was just like, that's a little bit of a bad omen. I don't know. And then obviously we know what ended up happening here. Just like the main thing that I want to say is that, like, tremendous season. Like, it really truly was. Like, for us to be able to get where we were at, and like, I was at the game, the Rams game, and seeing what was going on in the stadium, everyone else losing their minds in the city, and then moving forward at the Bucs game, same atmosphere, same energy. Like, there was a moment where I was like, this is a little bit surreal. Like, this is kind of crazy that the Lions are actually doing this right now.
Yeah.
We were feeling that. We were feeling that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was something. Hey, caller, we've got people are burning up the lines. We're going to move on, but I just want to say thanks, Charlene. We appreciate everything.
Hey, no, I love you guys. I appreciate what you're doing. And hey, at the end of the day, go Lions.
All
That's
right,
right,
brother.
baby. Go
we'll
Lions.
talk to you. Thank you. Go Lions.
Have a good one, guys.
You too. In the chat, Frank's home thinking maybe this guy needs some water. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you at from 0 to Frank?
Well, I think it's about 2, Chris. How are you guys doing down there in Mobile?
Hey,
Hi, Brandon.
Brandon, how you doing, man? We miss you down here again. We got to figure out how to make it work, brother.
Well, I think I'd have a better chance seeing you guys at the draft, tell you the truth, up there in Detroit, because that's where my mom and sis live. And I think it might be actually work out pretty good. If you guys are going through all 3 days, I could probably meet up with you on the third day because, that's not that near crowded. And we'd have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
hopefully, maybe just one.
Third day's fun, but it's always the worst weather.
Yeah. So on the pressers, just so you know, CBS has the full and only rights on those, which is why we're not getting those folks.
Yeah,
so.
that's why if you were looking on YouTube for Tori, not Tori. That's a
Danny.
Wow, Danny. Yes. I don't know why I thought of that because I clearly prefer Danny's reporting to Tori's and Lomas.
Yep.
They are not available on the Lions channel either, and won't be apparently.
For crying out loud!
Yeah. So
wow.
I actually can do a replay on the Campbell presser, I think, here shortly. So
that'll be good.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
We'll get a replay on it. Go ahead. So go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you there, Brandon.
No problem, man. I tell you what, I know there's a whole lot of Lions fans that are really mad and upset because of the decisions that were made and then some of the plays that were not made. I mean, I've always said, if you miss an interception, it's going to come back and burn your butt. It does every game, every time, and it sure happened this time. But to get this far, I mean, come on, people. Who in the world thought the Lions would be in a championship game this year, let alone 2 playoff wins in a row and home games at that? It is what it is, man. We've got building blocks. I don't think we would have really beat Kansas City anyway. So who knows?
I would have liked
But the point is, it would have been nice to have a shot. But I'm going to put it this way. Think of there are other 3 teams that's in Detroit, Tigers, Red Wings, and Pistons. And remember when the Red Wings were trying to bust through and they finally made it to the Stanley Cup only to go up against the New Jersey Devils and get swept 4-0, and that's with Scotty Bowman. And then finally, things worked around. They got the play, and they got what they needed. They had I call it the hit on Chris Draper that turned the whole thing around, and then they dominated the league. Then you got the Pistons. How many years did they try and bust through against the Lakers and the Celtics? And the Bulls were right on their heels. Well, they finally was able to do it, and then they wound up with 2 back-to-back championships. And then let's talk about the Tigers. We actually made it to the World Series, a couple of times with all them great players. Didn't get the wins, but they made it that way because before that, what were they? They were trash. Bad job, man. And they finally made it through. So the point is, you don't just sit there and all of a sudden you're just a flash in the pan. You go all the way through and you win the Super Bowl. No, you got hard knocks and you have hard times. And that's what these Lions are doing right now. They are going to get hungrier. They're going to get better. They're going to get different players. And the man we've got, that's the GM, along with that coach, I know he's got his ways. But dang, I'd rather have him coach than I would ever have Schwartz, Caldwell, let alone them other yahoos that took us to like 3 or 4 wins every year. So I'm all for it, man. Next year, if he pulls this stuff, then I'll get mad. You guys have fun. I'm going to sit back and drink the rest of my beer just like you, Chris.
I like the way you think, Brandon. All right, Brandon. Have a good one, buddy. All right.
We will tell Pat that you said hi.
Yeah.
We will see him Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday with Pat. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where are you at from 0 to Frank?
A lot closer to Frank than 0 for sure.
Fair enough.
That's a different answer than Charlene, but I'm with you. What do you got for us, brother?
Well, I think people are being too negative. I thought Goff played a good game. His receivers let him down a couple times with some 4th down receptions they should have made. And unfortunately, Kendall Vildor tried to make an interception with his face, and it didn't work out. But other than that, I thought we played well. It didn't work out. I mean, the future is bright with this team.
I think he needs a bigger mouth, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, how does it bounce off your freaking face?
We've seen it with so many different players, bro. I mean, it's happened to wide receivers where it goes through their hands and bounces off their face. He's a corner, right? And he's not.
Clearly. That's clearly why he wasn't playing receiver.
Right.
Oh, my God.
And he's not, I mean, he's not Sauce Gardner, right? He's a corner. And Ayuk was the focus that he had. Look, we go into this game, the 49ers had a 74% chance of winning this game is what I saw before the game started.
Something like that.
They had everything in their favor, and we came and we gave it to them. We fell apart in the end. They were able to adjust on us. We weren't able to do what we needed to do to win the game. But we went in and gave them a hell of a half. It sucks. It burns to let that many points get scored. But you've got a team that's going to front off. I mean, look, if you're them, think about the 49ers fans in here, like people are complaining about trolling in the chat or whatever. It's like they lost to the freaking Philadelphia Eagles last year. I mean, they had all kinds of like BS teams for a long time. They just got lucky. I don't say lucky. They've been good for a long time. They finally were able to pull it together this year. They're nothing special. They're just a good team this year, and they'll move on, and they'll probably get trounced by the Chiefs and be angry and embarrassed again, and then we'll move on to next year.
The other thing with that is as you get better, you're going to get that.
Yep.
We have to learn how to. It's part of the cost of business of being good is that people are going to start hating more, and that's. I'll take that. I like being good. Yep. I don't like being bad. I like this being good thing.
Yeah.
I can get used to this.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Yeah, I can't believe people are getting on Goff and getting on MCDC. I don't fault any of his fourth down decisions. We just didn't execute. I mean, the guys, they made good plays, made good play calls, and the guys didn't catch the ball on fourth down. I mean, it was right in their hands a couple times.
Yeah,
I don't fault him. We just didn't execute.
Goff played well enough to win. It wasn't him that was dropping the balls and missing tackles and all that. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, 100%. So where are you at now, man? Where do we go from here?
Well, I think, we got like $60 million in cap space next year, and we got a lot of draft picks, even though they might be a little later than we're used to lately. But you know what? I think if we pick up a couple guys in free agency, maybe an edge and a corner, or at least one of the two, and draft in the same positions, next year we could have a great team. So, I mean, we're in the right direction. Nobody expected us to get this far before the season started. I think we got to think positive here.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I am with you 100%. I think that's exactly where this team is and the way to look at it. I mean, people are saying, yeah, well, in 91, they thought they'd be there next year too. Yeah, this isn't that 91 team, man. It's a good time to have a chill pill on that and worry a lot less.
This is also a better the way that the league has evolved a little bit too. There isn't like that Washington team that we lost to in 90. That was a great team.
Yeah.
And then the Cowboys were also really good. Like I don't see that. I don't say this to disrespect the 49ers or the Ravens or stick with the NFC. The Cowboys, obviously the Packers, like they're good, but they're not better than us. They played better than us at specific times this year, and that's why they got to the success that they did. That's why the 49ers are still playing and we're not. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's no reason we can't play with any of those teams. Back then. And that was like right when they switched in San Francisco from Joe Montana to Steve Young, and like, oh crap, they're great again. Mm-hmm. Like that great team doesn't. It might be us,
right?
It could be.
It could be. And I mean, if you think about where the Detroit Lions were for about ever, the San Francisco 49ers, they had a spectacular team and no quarterback for years.
Yeah.
And Brock Purdy just happens to be kind of pulling it together. I don't know that Brock Purdy is that great of a quarterback in any other offense.
He's lucky as hell.
He made some good moves. I don't want to undersell him, right? But I just don't know that he's. Oh, Brian, God dang you, man, love you so much, bro. Hey, I got a message out to you, Brian, and you're not answering me, and I want to help. You can get me on Twitter, or I'm going to start texting your ass. Love you all. Thanks for the great content this year. Future's so bright, but man, this shit is heartbreaking. Wild to think how one play can change an entire game. That fourth down, up 24-14, flipped everything. If we make that, we most likely go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the one.
We were feeling it. We were. That was when my hotel room got quiet.
Yeah, that was that point. And it was that where the creep of that old sensation came back, of that meltdown, that collapse, that sense. And then it was one play followed by another, and it's like, this isn't that team. Where's the grit? And at the end, they did put it together.
They got it
but
back a little bit.
They didn't have the time to right the ship. And it's terrible. It's terrible because that span of mistakes happened over the course of about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In a 60-minute game.
Yeah.
And it cost them. Because everything
it
else
was
they
like
did
10
was
minutes of like real time too,
Yeah.
not just game time.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, it was pretty much the third quarter blues again. Is what happened. Yeah.
Yep. Oh man. Okay. So hey, brother, we're gonna get Dan Campbell's press conference on here. A lot of folks want to see it, so we're gonna put it on, and
I want to see it too.
we'll go from there. In the meantime, folks, make sure to like, subscribe, do all those stuff. We appreciate when you do that, and we'll go on. But hey, caller, appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Bye.
We'll see you. All right, we got that going. Let's go ahead and get
All right.
to this.
Oh yeah, I see Dan.
Yeah, let's get Dan in here right now. Hope this works.
Listen in.
We give those guys, a lot of credit. We knew they wouldn't go away, and they made the plays today. Coach Shanahan's a hell of a coach. That's a team that they've done it, they lived it, and they made the plays. So credit to them. I'm really proud of all these guys. I am. And it's hard when you lose that way. It's hard. You feel like you get your heart ripped out. So, but I'm proud of that group, and I'll go anywhere with that group. And you wish you could keep it all together, but that's not the reality. So, we did some really good things, but today we didn't do enough, and it's tough. It's questions.
You had 2 fourth down decisions that were critical in the second half. And either one
That were what?
2 fourth down decisions that were critical in the second half. Neither one was converted.
Yeah.
Particularly the second one. Why not take that field goal there and maybe stem the bleeding a little bit?
Yeah, I just felt really good about us converting and getting our momentum and not letting them play long ball. They were bleeding the clock out. That's what they do. And I wanted to get the upper hand back, and it's easy hindsight, and I get it, I get that. But I don't regret those decisions, and that's hard. It's hard because, we didn't come through. It wasn't able to work out, but I don't. And I understand the scrutiny I'll get. That's part of the gig, man. But, we just didn't work out.
And how do you process what happened in the second half? Some of the self-inflicted mistakes, I guess, that didn't seem to come up much of the year for you.
Yeah, it's been very uncharacteristic of us. We've always been able to get our momentum back, and it's hard to say. I honestly right now I can't put my finger on that. That's not like us. We had plays to be made that we just didn't make. We normally do, and some of the things third quarter we came out. I thought we did a really good job defensively, man. Held them to 3, and then got the ball back, moved it, and. But we just couldn't quite make those plays, and so third quarter, we've been there before, and so fourth quarter you feel like we're going to get it back, and we just couldn't quite get over the hump, and and that hasn't been us all year, and it showed up today at the worst time.
Dan, you did a lot of good things in the first half of this game. You got this far. I don't know if a lot of people picked you to come to the NFC title game, but disappointing end. But what do you learn from this experience? I'm sure you hope to get back here, you expect to get back here. But what do you learn from this experience of making it this far to this game?
Well, I think one of the things you always tell everybody who's never been here, and particularly the young players, is you don't know which play is going to make the difference, which one. You say that every game, but when you get in there with a heavyweight like Sam Fran, man, it is the difference. And sometimes you can only say so much. You got to live it, unfortunately. You got to get your heart ripped out, which we did. And it's a lesson learned. And look, I told those guys, this may have been our only shot. Do I think that? No. Do I believe that? No. However, I know how hard it is to get here. I'm well aware. And it's going to be twice as hard to get back to this point next year than it was this year. That's the reality. And if we don't have the same hunger and the same work, which is a whole nother thing, once we get the off season, then we got no shot of getting back here. I don't care how much better we get or what we add or what we draft. It's irrelevant. It's going to be tough. Everybody in our division is going to be loaded back up, and you're not hiding from anybody anymore. Everybody's going to want a piece of you, and which is fine. Which is fine. But so it's hard. You want to make the most of every opportunity, and we had an opportunity.
Oh my gosh!
And we just couldn't close it out. It stings. It stings.
And to go from that high of the 24-7 halftime lead to how it ended, what is your locker room like right now? I'm sure you were celebrating at halftime, but you obviously were feeling very good. The level of crushing, I guess, for your players?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah, I mean, nobody's happy. They're very disappointed. It's disappointing. And I think I said it pretty vividly. It's like getting your heart ripped out. And it's hard. It's hard. And no, we didn't come in at halftime. We were doing backflips like, all right, we got this thing won. They know better. We all know better. We talked about it. We knew they were going to make a run in the second half. We talked about it. We knew we were going to have to weather a storm in the second half. And so when they started to make a push, we weren't surprised. We just couldn't counter back. And we've always been able to counter back. We just couldn't quite do it in this one.
What is the message, both in the moment and big picture, to a player like Kendall, who is on the wrong side of a play like that, on the how you catch?
Listen, what we talked about is, man, you fight every play, man, and you make them earn everything they get. He was in phase, and he competed, and it didn't work out. And you know what? That's life of a cornerback. It's life of a quarterback as well, those two positions. And listen, it happens, and you go back for the next play. And long term, you know what? That won't be the next time that happens, unfortunately. It's every corner gets put on an island at different times. And so you just keep going. You just keep fighting. And that's what I want, and that's what I'm looking for. What I don't want is a player who looks scared and doesn't get up there and challenge, but a guy who'll go up there and mix it up and isn't afraid of who he's lined up over. You know what? Give up play. Nobody feels good about it. Certainly, a player doesn't. But I know they're fighting.
You mentioned it a little bit in your opening comments, Dan. There's a lot of emotions at the end of a game, but particularly at the end of the season. Can you just expand a little bit more on just knowing that the locker room, your coaching staff might look, quite a bit different? I guess the challenge and the finality of that.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. Everything that I'm a firm believer in. Everything's got to be right, and everybody just thinks that it's just talent or it's just coachability, and the more talent you get and the better coaches or the more well-known, then you're just automatically going to be good. And that's not the truth at all. It's not. Does it help? Yeah, it helps as long as they are compatible and there is a chemistry and there's teamwork and there's an unselfishness and you leave the egos at home, and that's hard. It's hard to do that, and so you set it up. Well, now it's just going to look different, and it's got to be right again. It's got to be right. Some of the players, potentially some of the coaches, man, we've got to start over, and we got to find the right mix, the right balance, and it's got to be right. Because otherwise, you don't. I'm a firm believer. You don't have a chance if it's not. You'll become average quickly.
The three more questions, starting with Dave. It's probably too early in the
the moment right after a game like this, but at what point do you think, if at all, you'll be able to appreciate what you guys accomplished this season, getting here, the amount of success you had leading up to tonight?
That's tough. And I've said that word a lot tonight. And I hate it. I should not, you're asking me right now, and I feel like we're no different than anybody else. And that's what, unless you're the Super Bowl winner, that's what this feels like. It's hard. And we did accomplish a lot, but there's just, there's a piece of me that I just feel like we're, a little bit like everybody else who didn't make it, and everybody else who lost. Unless you're San Francisco and who won the other one, I don't even know. KC, then you got a pretty bad taste in your mouth. And it's what's great about this sport, what's great about the game, it's what's great about the tournament, and it's also what just crushes you.
The last two will be Jack, then Mitch.
Dan, coming out halftime, you get the Ayuk catch and the fumble, and like a double gut punch you could never see coming.
No, look, we knew they were going to make a play. You'd like to believe that it's not going to be that, but, I don't. We knew they were going to make some plays. It was just a matter of time, and I don't care how good you're playing. Ayuk's a good player, and Purdy does a good job of giving those guys a chance to make plays. Kittle's a good player. Debo's a good player. So at some point, you knew something was going to happen. You got to be able to answer back, and you got to be able to contain it, and we weren't able to do that.
Next last question.
Man, early in that.
All right, let's get back to the calls. See what we got going on. Hey, caller, what's your name? And where are you at from 0 to Frank?
Take that one out.
Oh, give me 1 second. I got to remember how to fix this. Hold on. Hold on. I get you here.
He's working on it.
Dang it. How do you decline? Go here. Okay, I got to get you on. Damn. Happened so fast. There we go.
You're a PBX.
Hey, caller. Sorry about that. How you doing?
Doing good. How about you guys tonight?
Good. Oh, man.
Right.
Where you at on the 0 to Frank scale, bro?
Heartbreaker.
Yeah,
heartbreaker. But what a great season. We had some good football. Here we are in January, and it finally come to an end.
Brother, I have not talked about the draft on this podcast at all. And here we are at the Senior Bowl. Usually in December, we start talking about where are we going to go, what do we need, who would we pick. We haven't talked about it. It is a full almost 2 months later before we're diving in the draft. And it just so happens that it lands perfect for where we're at to help people kind of focus now where, look, it's time to shift. We're in 2024. Let's get into making this team better for next year. But it was a great season. There's a lot, Lions fans, you want it all. Of course you want the Super Bowl. But you haven't had any of these things that we got in the postseason in most people's lifetimes. And this is, especially the people listen, the age listening to this. So take a moment. Don't be mad that it ended the way it is, but just be happy that it happened.
No,
because there's
you
a lot
can't.
of great times on the way, man.
But there's still a lot of work to do.
Yes. Yeah, and that's, what? Dude, you just said it. You just said exactly what Campbell preaches with this team. And Chuck Pagano said it on McAfee when they were talking about grit and all that kind of thing. It is, do you know what the worst thing you can do when you're climbing a mountain is? Look up.
Relax.
Look up. Because you see how far it is and you're like, oh, man, I'm going to give up, right? Don't. You can't, man. That's where they're at. You just keep going and you keep moving and you go forward. That's what this team is, and fans gotta do it too. It's hard to expect your team to be infallible and then you as a fan just turn and bounce right away. You can. You get that. They make their money doing this, so they don't get to do it. But anyway, sorry. You just kind of hit on something that was just spot on there.
Right, and like today, there were 3 or 4 plays that the players didn't make that hurt.
Yep.
But at the same time, Dan Campbell can't be one of those guys that makes one of those plays that hurt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
You
and I
expect
tell
more
you
from
what,
your
next
coach.
year.
Yep. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, you can't get one or two bad calls from him in a game. It's bad enough when the players do it.
Yep.
And another thing also, too, is we're going to have to knuckle down because next year's schedule is going to be a whole lot tougher.
It sure is.
We're not going to get 4 teams from the right. We're not going to get 4 teams from the South to play. We're going to get a little bit. We'll get San Francisco and Dallas and the Eagles on our schedule next year. So
yeah, and that's
yeah.
It is what it is. And you know what? Like Campbell said in the press conference, we're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. Now's the time. You got it. You're looking at them face to face. You're not sliding it in from behind. You're going toe to toe, face to face, man.
What was that? I never thought a little prick would hurt so much.
Yeah, but you want to be the one thrusting.
That's right.
That's right.
Darn straight, man.
You don't want to be in that power bottom roll.
You don't want to be the rider.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the rider.
You're right though. But I think we're all pretty confident that this team's going to do what they need to do to stay there. And I thought that Dan's message on that was pretty clear. If he doesn't think that you're part of the long-term solution, this is how I read into it anyways. We're going to have to make some changes, and some of y'all won't be back here. I'm sure that's probably how he said it to his team. And
yeah. But I think there's probably a other part of that where he said, I love you all, and I'd do it all with you again kind of a thing. But we're not going to be the same guys. We're not going to be the same guys next year that we were this year.
Yeah,
right?
even the lowest turnover teams flip over 20-25% of their roster every year. That's just football. It's life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, can we just give a shout out? I mean, we do this the other way. Can we give a shout out to Clete Blakeman and crew? The refs,
they were not part of the game at all tonight.
Yeah. Like I saw massive holding on Hutchinson, but I saw massive holding on our O-line too. They just called it consistently.
They did.
It was.
That's
shout out to
That's
Clete.
all we want. Consistent.
That's exactly right. They were not part of the game, and that's good. They're not supposed to be part of the game.
That's right. So shout out to
the Lions matched that physical game too. They were in it.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, brother. Hey, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna keep getting some callers here. Okay.
We'll see you next year.
All right. Hey, what was your name again?
Mike.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thank you,
Mike from Ashland, Kentucky. I'm 30 miles south of the Portsmouth Spartan Stadium.
There you go.
Really?
Been down there a few times.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Had a good friend in college from Ashland, Kentucky.
All right, Mike.
Pat McBride.
Okay.
We're gonna let you go, brother. See you later, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Portsmouth Spartans. Hey, caller, what's your name and where are you on the scale of 0 to Frank?
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Dominic, or Dom the Bomb from California.
Dom the Bomb. How you doing? You're not at 0?
I'm at 0. I'm at
okay.
0, man.
Okay. Good for you.
Although after losses like this, I want to be at Frank.
There's something to be said for Frank.
So I maybe make a hard left here at Albuquerque. I was just curious on what your guys' thoughts were on. I was really unimpressed with number 2, CD, man. There's a lot of talk pregame, and I feel like the culture we set up, that Dan has set up there, is like we let our play talk, we don't let our mouths talk. He got that penalty against us. There's missed tackles. There was opportunities to hit Debo legally, and he didn't. You know what I mean? Like, it just really felt like a lot of missed opportunities where the play could have been, spoken a lot louder than words, man.
100%. And this is where, Riz, you talked about it in the show this week, which was, and I didn't quite, I heard you, but I didn't really put it into context. And the idea where his talk is fun and all that, but it wears on people.
Yeah.
I think the wearing on people comes with the talk kind of turns into how the play works, and the play becomes a liability.
Yeah,
and
that's what the Warriors are going
yeah.
through with Draymond Green right now.
Yep.
Like when it's working, it's great, but when it's not, like, dude, just stop.
Yeah.
And he's that kind of guy, and it's not for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. But now
it's a rough night.
Now you worry about
night, man.
You got CJGJ, and then you got Tracy Walker, who's going to go. Now you got to gap it. You've done the ultimate Bob Quinn. You've created a hole.
Yeah.
Are you going to Are you going to downgrade it? Because that's what Quinn did at every position. He downgraded every position and paid more money for it, and got us in a tough spot. We've already got enough gaps we have to fill. Is safety another one? Right, and that's the question. Because is it worth it? It may be. It may be. The answer may be yes. But
and it could be that Brian Branch maybe moves to a more of a full-time safety role, and they bring in another slot corner, or somebody else is a slot corner. They move Cam Sutton inside where he played in Pittsburgh.
Maybe they believe in Iffy as much as you do.
Maybe he did not have a good game tonight.
Oh man, that missed sack was killing me. That's still killing me. I'm gonna have nightmares over that one.
Yeah, Chris,
I don't know. I just
Yeah, Chris and I, as we were watching the game, we were like,
I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for all you do. I'm looking forward to hearing all the content that comes down out of Mobile, man.
Thank you.
Saw you had a Smoothie King, so you guys are on the road to greatness. It's a hard one. I watch it with my dad, who's a Niners fan. I told you guys last time.
Yeah.
My oldest son is a Lions fan.
Yeah.
We're a little dejected tonight, but it was a good season, man. I mean, here's the real challenge for me this year was learning how to adapt to this new team and change my mindset away from like that word that we don't use, that SOL, into learning how to, how do we just keep our heads up and like know that we're going to be back in these scenarios? Maybe not to this level because it's never guaranteed, but like training myself as a new kind of fan for a new kind of franchise and staying positive and like not turning on Goff and burning the thing down. Like they did great tonight, man. I really feel proud because like I feel like we gave the game away and they made the plays. The Niners made the plays, but like we gave the game away.
Yep.
And we'll learn from that and be better next year.
Yep. Yeah, 100%, man.
Agree with everything you said. Good call.
Yeah. All right, man. We're going to move on. Thank you, Dom. Have a good one, man. Thank you. All right, let's get right into it.
That was a good one. I like that.
Hey, caller, what's your name and why is it Scott?
Oh, we lost him.
He hung up on me when I said that. Hey, caller, what's your name and where are you in the scale from 0 to Frank? Up.
Chris, what'd you do? Sorry. Hang on.
Hold on, caller. I gotta.
Chris screwed up again.
I didn't. It did. Okay. Here we are. All right, caller, we got you. How you doing, man? Sorry about that.
Hey, what's up? It's Adam.
Back.
How's everything?
Adam, how you doing?
What's up, buddy?
We're working in a hotel room in Mobile. We flew a bunch of equipment in, and the equipment. I mean, here and there, we're having some glitches. It's a sad day.
You guys are crushing. Before we even talk about the game, I guess I just want to say thank you guys. You guys crushed it all year, and you did a hell of a job. So,
no, Adam,
you guys. You
thank
worked
you, my friend.
Adam, I just want to tell you, because this is my Adam, right? Adam B.
Yep.
Yeah. I was making sure. I heard the voice, and I was pretty sure. Yeah. I just want to give you and all the compatriots over there a shout out. This last week, a lot of stuff came out on Twitter and a lot of conversations and stuff. And I don't want to go into it. I don't want to unpack all that, but I just want to say, man, nobody deserves to deal with that kind of stuff. And power to you for putting up with whatever you had to put up with along the way. I know you never said anything, you never talked about anything like that, but with what we saw this week, it seems like a lot of people put up with some toxic ass shit. Nobody deserves that. So just stand behind you, man. Give you a little bit of karmic love.
100%.
Yeah, it is what it is, and there's obvious reasons why I left when I did. So, but I appreciate you guys. I kind of don't want to talk over everything that's been talked about regarding the game.
Yeah.
Especially what happened. And although I'm super grateful that we are here, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, watching the game with my dad, watching him jump up for joy when it was 21-7, or even after Jameson scored, what the fuck, a minute 40 in, we're up 7-0, holy shit. There were so many good moments, so I'm just happy, but, man, that is so devastating. We looked so immature in the second half. We can talk about not taking the 3-possession lead or attempting to coming out of the second half after they scored. But at the end of the day, man, it's so hard to get here. And
but Adam,
that's kind of like my concern right now. I'm panicking about how do we get back here when you're going to have to pay your tackle, top 3 tackle money, the wide receiver, top 7, top 5 money, likely he's an all-pro wide receiver. You're going to give Jared Goff a huge contract extension. Aiden Hutchinson in a few years is going to command a top 5 positional contract. Like, we have to smarten up a little bit, and it just sucks because that opportunity was right there. And unfortunately, and I had a lot of friends there tonight, and the number one thing they all consistently said, it had nothing to do with the drop, nothing to do with Jameson stopping on his route that could have been a touchdown. It was when we didn't get the 4th and 2. The Niners bench went absolutely insane. The crowd was back in it.
Yep.
And it was only 24-10 at that point.
Yep.
But it felt like all the momentum we had worked for in the first half was gone.
Yep.
And just like that. And that's kind of how it felt.
So here's something from the chat. And I can't verify the numbers or exactly what they are, but I think this is an important piece. The Lions had 7 games combined experience in the NFC Championship game. The 49ers had 73.
I think.
Yep. That's gigantic, man. And so what happens? We walk out of here, and we've got a whole bunch more experience in the NFC Championship game. We learned a lot.
We will be better at it when we get there next year.
And if there's one thing about Dan Campbell and this team that we know and we've seen about how they grow over time, is they do learn from their mistakes, and they do get better. So until they don't, then we can start being critical about that. But they continue to do the whole we made a mistake and we learned, and now we're better. And that's what the last 3 years have been, and they've gotten better fast. So I'm willing to give any previous regime, I would not have given this much leash. You know what I mean? Before I got super ultra critical. But these guys, they've earned it. They've earned it. So we're going to watch next year the combination of the schedule and bouncing back from this. It's going to be, is this going to be a lay down year next year?
Yeah, we'll know.
Yep.
We'll know if it's a team that's built. I do think they're built to last roster wise. So, are they actually built to win 2 divisions in 3 years, or 3 in 4 years, or something like that? We'll know next year. If Ben Johnson leaves, what's Jared Goff's decline, or does he improve? What does that look like? What does Dan look like without his OC? Does he take over the play calling? What does Brett Holmes do with his defense? Every secondary player outside of Brian Branch can leave at this point. No offense, not to be too mean, but Phil Dorr can leave. C.J. Gardner-Johnson talks way too much for a guy that doesn't do anything.
Yep.
Man, it's so frustrating.
Yep. Well, tomorrow's going to be a big day. We find out if Ben Johnson leaves. I think we're in a couple. I don't think he does. I talked about it last week, and I was really leaning towards where he was. I am absolutely the opposite percentage of where I was last week, based on other communications I've had.
We'll see. The Commanders want to make a decision as soon as possible, so we will learn very quickly on that.
Yeah, for sure. I just everything I'm hearing is it's not. It's a family thing. It's a time thing, and I just think. And look, Ben Johnson isn't going to have a problem getting a job next year, the year after, or whatever. He's still young. He's still doing his thing. So, and we were talking about this a little bit today. What's the difference between $7 million and $20 million a year?
Yeah, when you've already got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big number.
I'd like to know these problems.
Yeah, right. It's a big number, but the reality is it worth? Because the 20 comes.
It's more like the ambition.
It's
more of the individual's ambition.
Yep. And if you look at these guys,
especially for successful guys like him,
you look at their background and where they came from. He's a math degree. He's a engineering degree. He's not like the rest of these guys.
No, he's not.
He's just built a little different. So I feel like we have Ben. And look, wherever we land, if Ben stays, I think Ben's got some things to learn this year too. And if he does, in the way that we've seen these guys learn, I'm really excited about what we have from this team next year.
For sure. I'm going to leave you guys with that. I'm going to go back to listening, but you guys have a great night. Thank you for a great season, and stay safe. And obviously, we'll be talking soon.
All right. Yeah,
Excellent.
absolutely, Adam.
Thanks,
Appreciate you,
Adam.
brother. All right.
That's a good dude. I like that guy.
Yeah, I do too. Hey, caller, what's your name and where are you at from 0 to Frank? Like Adam a lot.
I'm John, and I'm at 0.
Oh, John.
All right.
We need a 0. We need someone to help us.
I'm really feeling the pain. A couple things. Great game, great season. A couple drops and a fumble. But, I was talking to a buddy about the Kansas City game today, and I said there's no doubt in my mind Kansas City's going to win today because that team knows how to win in the playoffs. And the Lions took a big step in learning how to do that today.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
And the only criticism of the coaching I have today was the 3rd and 1 from the goal with about a minute left. You can't run it because you got to burn a timeout if you don't make it, and they had to. And then San Fran could just run out the clock. Just throw it twice there, and at least you force them to get a first down when you kick off. That's the only criticism of the coaching. Going for it on first down, man, that's our DNA. That's why these guys love Campbell and play so hard.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's part of it. That's part of who they are. And it's always like I go back to the, when it was their 20 whatever and they failed on the fake punt and everyone went nuts. And did you learn something, Dan Campbell?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's basically what the press gave him, the beat writers gave him in the post-game presser.
Yeah.
And it was about 6 weeks later, he did it again, and they succeeded, and no one had anything to say about it. Right?
Yeah. And if you would have said, what do we have a better shot at? Badgley with a 47-yarder or Josh Reynolds catching what he's caught all year long? You know what I mean? I'll take that play again. He just dropped it.
He did.
Yep.
The play was right. The call was right. Didn't execute.
Play was right. The call was right. And just the execute. And that's part of learning. The guys just the second half. And I'm wondering if the lead was too big in the first half. And they kind of didn't really keep the pedal on the metal, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's that little kind of like, we kind of got this one, guys, and rather than we're in a dogfight, guys.
Yep.
So it's part of the learning process.
If it was the days of Stickum, we had that.
Lester Hayes catches that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Isaac
Anyways, you
Curtis
guys have done
catches
great
that
all year long.
Oh, appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Really do.
Yeah, no, seriously, you guys are the most rational voice in the world of hot takes and gotchas and you know what I mean? It's just like
Thank you for
rational
that.
adults talking about football, man. Seriously, I appreciate that.
That's like one of the nicest things you can say to me and Chris. Thank you for that.
You guys are great.
It's part of the. I mean, look, a lot of people do that, and it works for a while, but we kind of stay true to who we are, and it is what if you like it, great. If you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of great content out there, but we just try to sit in that spot where, again, we just try to keep rational and keep the long view rather than the momentary freak out, because the momentary freak out is disingenuous to us. So.
Yeah. Being a sports fan's a marathon, man. It's not a sprint of It's like, no, all right, we'll get them next year, and talk to them the next year. But
I think
anyway,
we're all,
appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you.
We're all very confident that this team is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Except up, maybe.
Yeah. That's right.
And that's the good thing. I think. Again, I don't feel any dread at all that this team isn't going to improve upon what they need to improve upon this offseason.
No, I don't feel that at all. I don't feel any of that fear at all.
Yep.
Let's see if we can get a caller in here. Hey, caller, what's your name and where are you at on the scale of 0 to Frank? Oh, man. The same guy. It's the same guy that's breaking it, man. Okay, we got you back fast. Okay. Hey, caller, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey. All right. We got you. How you doing?
Caller?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I mean, all things considered, I'm on the air right now.
Yeah. We're just hanging out.
Oh, okay,
talking.
all right, cool, man. All right, so my name's Rick. I'm from Rochester. I've always wanted to say this, long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right.
That's awesome, Rick.
But, one personal thing, I was 8 years old. I was a Niners fan, but my father's from Windsor, right across the river.
Right. Okay.
So when Barry came in the league, I switched as a young boy. And, boy, it's been a rocky ride, as you know. But, anyways, man, I just, I'm happy I got through. I didn't think I would. But, man, what a heartbreaker.
Yeah. It's look, someone here, we got it right here. we've seen a glimpse of next season. When other receivers were letting Goff down, he started throwing to J-Mo, and J-Mo was coming through.
Yeah.
We talked about this on Wednesday, man. This could be the best development of a player who maybe wasn't the right kind of mental state fit, whatever. I don't know what the right words are, but to take him on a journey throughout the course of a season with the support of his teammates, the coaches saying, prove it, right? Prove it. And he saw no balls. Sorry, I'm 10.
That's true. I mean,
forever, right? And then now it's starting to come. And people said, "Well, Goff's always underthrowing him, or Goff doesn't trust anybody until he's with them for a while." But no, there was no calls even to throw the ball his way. This was an evolution, and and look, the coaches, the players, all that are important, but the person who deserves the most credit is J-Mo himself for recognizing it and growing it and being the player that he is and turning the person he is at the end of the season. I have so much hope for what he can be next year. This is different. You don't see this kind of like time spent and invested in somebody's growth like you did with the Lions and J-Mo this year. I love this, man. It tells the other players that they have a shot, that they care about them, that they will truly give them a shot if they have the work ethic and put the time and effort in. So power to everybody involved in that. Yeah.
Yeah, big plays from him. You know, like when he makes an appearance, it's big. You know, I love that. You know, hands were an issue, but I thought it was a pick for sure. I mean, he ripped it out of the cornerback. I think it was the cornerback.
Yes.
Cornerback's arms, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" You know, and then there was the flea flicker right after, but I was like, "Oh." Kind of felt it was like testing or something, and used up all his special powers on the basically intercepting that one ball. You know.
Yeah, that ball was in his hands, out of his hands, in the defender's hands, and back in his hands. That you talk about what grit is. That's him wrestling that ball back for possession. There is absolutely the kind of thing that they want on this team, and he showed it 100%. Loved that from J-Mo.
Can I ask you, what did you think? I felt like when they're running Gibbs inside, it just was not working, and Demo was like a sure thing, and like they're just banging him into a wall, Gibbs, and there was just certain downs and distances where it seemed like a no-brainer to have Demo in. I mean, I didn't mean J-Mo, I meant Demo.
Yeah.
Montgomery, and like, I don't know. You know what the worst thing was? Is, it was like, I kind of, if I was just looking at it without my fan bias, I was like, we'll probably lose, and whatever. But I would have took them if I was gambling on the points or whatnot. But to have, to have it and then, 17-point lead, just go. Yeah, I don't know. It's really disheartening, but I'm very optimistic about the future.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think Lions fans should be. I think Lions fans have every right to be optimistic about the future of this team. They came in, they proved that they were tough, that they can play, and look, to lose an NFC conference championship game, and that's where you go out, there's no shame in that. No. If there's shame in that, there's like 27 other teams that can go suck. I mean, really? You know what I mean? I mean, that's fine.
We got a lot further than they did.
Yep.
Well, thanks for taking my call, guys, man. I look forward to hearing the rest of this, stream or whatever.
Yeah.
It's great. Thanks for calling in.
Appreciate it. Next time, second time caller, brother. All right, we'll see ya. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where you at from 0 to Frank? My ass is getting sore, brother.
Yes, this bench needs some padding.
Yeah. Oh, man, we're going to have this problem again.
I'm going to go to a knee.
Take a knee.
Oh.
Okay, this is your last chance, brother. If you don't work, we're blocking you. Hey, caller. Yep, he's gone.
Forgot we were on Central Time here. I looked at my clock. I'm like, is it really 11:50? Like, holy crap. It's been up for almost 24 hours.
Yep. Hey, caller, what's your name? Where you at on a 0 to Frank?
Hey, this is Eric. From Minnesota.
From Minnesota?
I'm at a 0.
All right.
Oh, my goodness there. Okay, then. We'll talk about it. How you doing? Sorry.
Yeah, I was actually at the Minnesota Lions game where Iffy caught that interception to end the game.
Oh, nice.
I shared that memory with my daughter. So
nice.
I'm at a 0. I mean, the Lions had a really good season this season, and I'm ready to have these guys keep winning and build off of the experience they have right now. I mean, Dan Campbell talked about being hungry and coming with that for the next year. So I see Panay Sewell being hungry. I see St. Brown being hungry. These guys being hungry. So.
Yeah. There's one thing that's, if this is a Dan Campbell team, a Detroit Lions team, the hunger it's a mandate. And I think Brad Holmes, the people he looks for, it's just there's a type of player, and that hunger, grit, I mean, whatever you want to call it, is absolutely what it is that makes a player a Detroit Lion. You don't like ball? Go away. Hate to say it, but that's just where it's at, right? They don't want you. I think they'd forego a better player over a player who just likes ball and is that determined and lives and breathes football.
Yeah, speaking of that, like with the 29th pick, like, what do you guys think about trading that pick for a player and making a run for next year? Like, are we kind of there, or are we probably a year or two before we trade our first round draft pick for a player to make a Super Bowl run?
I think you would need to get a pick back in like the second or third. Let's look at Chase Young today. Did you know that Chase Young played for the 49ers today? Because they gave up a lot to get him, and I'm looking at he had two tackles and one QB hit. That's not bang for your buck. That's not what you want out of the number 29 pick. You want somebody better than that. So getting players from the other teams, especially if you don't have a background with them, is sort of like CJGJ. Like, we all thought that was going to be a great. Like, I thought it was phenomenal, and AG had a background with them, and it just didn't work.
He brought so much swag, though. Early on, he taught that secondary
I agree with
to approach the game differently, and I think that may have kicked this season off differently than it would have been. He changed that room, but as he got hurt, and then it was all talk.
Yeah.
And then he came back, and I mean, he had some.
But then again, like David Montgomery's a guy that nobody had experience with, and he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you never know what you're going to get on that. So
But he didn't need to fix a room. That room needed fixing. That secondary room needed fixing, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I mean, I think he had a role. I think the 1 year deal is probably the right kind of deal.
Yeah.
But go ahead, caller. Sorry.
I'm thinking like Marshawn Lattimore or Cameron, like the defensive end from the Saints. Like they have history of those guys. I think. Do you think those guys would help this team?
Lattimore certainly would.
Level?
And sounds like from my Saints friends, Adam is his name. He runs the his Twitter is No Music Intro. He's a great guy. I've been on their podcast before, and they both think that they can't keep Lattimore, nor that they necessarily want to. So he is certainly somebody that they will be looking at. If you're looking at other corners, Jalen Johnson's going to be out there. I don't think the Bears can pay him, but I'm not sure that we're going to be able to win a bidding war for that one, because there are other teams that have big needs at corner and more money and more desperation. So
can I just really quick say something about Lions fans?
Yeah.
Every week since we beat Minnesota, it's been, oh, Lions, Kirby Joseph is a dirty player. Lions fans have no respect for him because they booed Matthew Stafford. It's all like the sore loserdom focused on the Lions from the other teams. They're just the freaking softest baby shit that comes from those other teams' fans has been just weak sauce. And what I'm seeing right now isn't anything like that. I'm not seeing anything like that from Lions fans. Look, we're pissed at the team because they didn't come up with a number of plays. There's a couple of things that went wrong. There's some coaching decisions that were wrong. But you know what we didn't do? We didn't turn around and be like little pissy bitches. Sorry, but that's what every team we've played since Minnesota end of season has done after they got their clocks cleaned, we'll say. Yeah. This is something about what it's. You know how Barry would walk in and he won and he acted like he'd been there before.
Yeah,
we've never freaking been here And we're acting like we've been here before. Every single one of those teams has acted like they'd never seen and sniffed the panties of where we're at. This is I'm proud of Lions fans. I am absolutely proud of how we're taking this. Go for it, Niners. Go do your thing. We'll kick your ass next year. That's that. But good job, fans, man, because that soft, bitchy shit, go away. You're hitting at the knees. Ooh, you're trying to hurt players.
How many did we see? Because we were keeping a little bit of a track early in the game. There was like 4 or 5, and we're like, nobody's calling like any of these. And some of them were by Lions, and some were by the 49ers. Like, it's just football these days. They have to do that because if they hit them in the head, they're going to get massive fines. They're going to they could get thrown out. Like penalties.
Riz reeled me in because I was going to start trolling about, those dirty hits, they're hitting at the knees, right? I mean, because it was all just like, they're playing football. But he's like, people aren't going to get that you're trolling Chris. They're going to think you're serious and you're going to look like an asshole.
They're going to think you're a fuckstick. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Yeah.
It's good to have friends. It's good to have friends. Riz.
Discretion is a better part of valor, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that. So, caller, what do you think? Next year, we've got the tougher schedule. We've got a Brad Holmes draft and all the joys and treasures that come from that. What do you see from this team next year? Where do you think they're going to be? Do you think we're going to have a little bit of a slump before we start doing the next push, or do you think you see growth out of this team?
I think kind of the team growing, and I think as my fandom grows as well, kind of understanding like the playoff. As long as they make it to the playoff and make it run in the playoff, that's all that matters. Getting into the dance, I mean, they can not be the number 1 seed, and it's totally fine with me as long as they get in the tournament, make a run, and get back to the NFC Championship game. Right? So I think that's kind of the bar that they set for us as Lions fans. So
yeah,
that's my thought. What do you guys think?
I'm gonna steal from Campbell. We're just doing this. We're just doing this, man. We're gonna keep getting better, and we're gonna learn, and we're gonna get better. And there's gonna be some tough losses next year.
There will be.
You know what happens?
They're not gonna go unbeaten.
The year we win the Super Bowl, there's gonna be some tough losses. There's gonna be, and there's gonna be fans saying we need to fire Jared Goff. Oh, did I say Jared Goff was gonna win a Super Bowl just now? They're gonna say all kinds of things.
He might,
but
he could win one.
These Detroit Lions are on the right path. They have the right tack that they're taking to get there. It's not a one and done, buy it and lose it kind of a thing. I just think it's just, look, how smart and how thought out do those 6-year contracts for Brad and Dan look now?
You know, it's interesting because whoever hired Dave Canales, the Panthers, they gave it to him, knowing that the first year is going to be just awful. And it's cool that we're like setting the precedent for how teams want to run their business and how they want to run their team.
Yep.
When was the last time that happened? It's kind of sweet in a way.
Yep. Really quick.
Yeah, I think we're at the. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, caller. Go ahead, do your thing.
Yeah, I think we're at the forefront of some of these innovative things, and it's exciting. It's exciting that we're finally being the leader in some areas, and other teams are following us.
Yeah. I want to just really quick do one thing because it's time. I saw this in the chat. It reminded me. Just really quick. Here's one to listen to.
When it comes to the soothing light at the end of your tunnel, it's just a freight train coming your way.
And it was. This year, it was actually the freight train, unfortunately. But it's okay. It's okay.
It is okay. There'll be more trains.
Yeah. And there'll be more tunnels.
That's right.
All right, caller, we're going to let you go. We're going to keep rocking on. Appreciate you. All right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, my man. All right.
Can't get this thing off my face. I can't feel my face.
Oh, it's killing me. See what I did there? All right.
We get tired and we're down to being 12-year-olds again.
This is a big one. We've got a lot going on between now and all week long. Got a lot of conversations to have, a lot of player interviews, a lot of draft coverage.
Yes.
Senior Bowl practice coverage. We'll have video. Ash is going to have videos he's putting out in the daily DLPs. He'll have some analysis for us as well. There's a lot coming up this week. Make sure you like, subscribe. This is a big week for us. Nobody's Talk Draft, and we're going to have you covered in spades for the entirety of this week. So really quick, just want to say thank you to everyone for this season, for following along with us, riding with us on this journey. It's not over, though. The thing is, and this is one of the things we were talking about earlier, had the Lions won, they still need to draft next year. The draft is still coming. You have 4 teams right now that
would have been picking 32nd instead of 29th. There's not a huge difference there.
There's 4 teams that are splitting their attention between playing games and winning games and looking at the future draft picks.
Yep.
And it's incredible how much there is in these organizations that required to be able to maintain the current and the future. So we're now in a position as Detroit Lions fans where we look to the future. Again, there hasn't been a whole lot of draft talk, but we got you covered in spades this week. We're here to give you the latest on some of the top picks at the Senior Bowl that will help round out what the Lions.
Russell Brown is down here with us. He was on the flight in.
Yes, he will join us on our daily podcast.
He will join us a couple times.
Yes.
I will have a ton of stuff up at Draft Wire as well.
Yes.
That is my day job, so you won't see me as much as I'd like to be, and as much as Chris would like me to be. But, that's got to pay the bills too. But this is going to be a fun ride, and it's going to be a lot of fun talking about prospects that aren't like the top. The last few years we've been arguing about like the very top players in the draft. We're not sniffing them this year. We're getting guys that go project 20 to 40, and that's going to be fun. It's going to be we'll see quite a few of them down here, I hope. Hopefully we interview a few of them.
Yeah. Oops, hit a couple buttons. I fat thumbed that. Sorry, folks. Yes, there's a lot to see down here this year. There's a lot of coverage. Draft Wire, Lions Wire, Detroit Lions podcast. Oh yeah, I forgot about those guys.
Hey, how about that?
Tons of stuff going on. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all those things. Get the action. And again, if you're interested in any of the players and hearing from them, we have a ton of interviews lined up. So
yeah.
With that,
it's gonna be great.
Thank you, everybody. I mean, 14 wins to watch this year from the Detroit Lions. That's huge. We played longer than we played for a long time. We've got a ton of good stuff. Yeah, I was button mashing. Sorry about that, Jordy.
Yes, he was.
I'm trying. My buttons are different here than they're at home, and I'm just like trying to hit them blind. So I got to get the mobile. All right, with that. Don't forget about us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. If you get in for your $5 a month, you get access to the Slack, which is the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. It's a great time, great place. And also follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast and at Jeff Risden. At DET Lions Podcast, you see all the show notes, the announcements, everything that's happening, all the news, anything you need to know about the show and us and what we're doing and covering and when. Head on up there, DET Lions Podcast on the Twitter or X. I don't know, probably always been Twitter to me.
My work Slack has a lot going on.
Also, yeah, we got to go. There's a ton of. I mean, it's off the hook.
Oh wow.
Be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Subscribe to the podcast. Why? What happens when they subscribe to the podcast, Mr. Risdon?
I really like to come in your ear holes automatically.
No, but what happens when they go to Detroit?
Yeah.
All right, thank you for tuning in. And hey, Lions fans, it's been a great season.
It has been.
If you expected the Super Bowl at the beginning of the season or to win the NFC Championship, you had unrealistic expectations for this team. I'm just being honest.
They darn near pulled it off.
But they darn near pulled it off. This was a great season to be a Lions fan.
Great ride.
The best season to be a Lions fan probably since 1957.
I would
two playoff
certainly
games
of our lifetimes.
2 playoff wins. Yeah. Haven't had it both at home. A near win in San Francisco, and a lot bright future to come. So thank you all for riding with us this season. We're going to have you covered all off season like we do the draft. We have a very special draft party. We have some plans coming up on that, and I think you folks should know. Of course, it's in Detroit. There'll be some events, some good stuff. Maybe get together at Malone's so we can hang out with Frank. A lot of good stuff going on, so tune in for that. But thank you now for tuning in for this show. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, and no problems. Because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. We love you, Lions. We love you, Detroit. Thank you, everybody, for this great ride this year.